So it's the end of morning, but maybe it's a good time just to sit down and hear a story. That's what I'm going to do today on Welcome to the 80s. And do you ever journal or write down things that are happening, or even write letters? And anyway, what I want to do today is read you, actually it was a letter, but it was my way of journaling. Every month I wrote a letter. And this is in September 1989. This is September, and this letter is 29 years ago, what was happening to us and what we were doing. And before I start, I'm going to explain what I'm sitting on in our living room. It's really outdoor furniture that Tom made. And last year it was outside. But when it came fall, we didn't want our cushions to get wet, so we brought it in. And this cushion was on one piece of furniture, this was on another, and here it wound up, and it never went back outside. And we sort of enjoy it here. When we first moved here, we had to downsize big time. The couch that we had in our living room in the other place was wider than this wall, so it was out. We sold it. We had a leather, a little bit bigger than a love seat, but smaller than your regular sofas. And it was a brown leather, real nice. And we gave that to one of our sons that was still living in Idaho at that time. And we had a love seat that we brought with us, but it just didn't work, and we gave it to neighbor's son. So here we are, sitting on our lawn furniture, and I sort of like it. It looks sort of ethnic, I think. Okay, anyway, I want to read you about our September in 1989. Earlier this summer, we went to the top of the world and back. Helena Schmidt's place on Starve Out Creek above the Wild Horse. It is a trip everyone should have the pleasure of doing. Every turn in the road brings another beautiful vista as the road climbs steeper and steeper, the curves becoming tighter and tighter, the views spectacular and breathtaking. The trips are a feast for my soul, gazing upon the Cornucopia mountain range that meets the Seven Devils. Hell's Canyon, deeper than any canyon on our continent, however, divides the ranges forever. And this trip, we lived in a little town 2 hours from the capital city, Boise, Idaho. And I think this was about 40 miles from us, and it took us longer to get there than it did to get to Boise because of the road. We made the trip with Helena's 93-year-old cousin, Irene, our neighbor. It is customary, helping with lunch, that we will hungrily eat on arrival. Irene made one dish casserole of salmon and potatoes, one of my favorites. I made a fresh green garden salad. Helena and Dodie, Helena's hired helper, had all the extras that make a simple lunch into a scrumptious repast. Bread, homemade bread, strawberry jam, and pickles, all homemade. A juicy cherry pie, still oozing tantalizing aromas from its oven's warm depth, greeted us as we came in carrying our lunch boxes. The table, already set and waiting, looked colorful and quaint, with a conglomeration of cups and saucers, plates and glasses. Some were of fine china, others of stoneware, but all old. Lunch started with the choosing of our plates. I chose a blue and white plate for its color. I like blue and white together. I like blue and white plates. And one Helena said was given to her years before by former guests from Japan. The meal ended with plenty of hot, strong coffee, generous helpings of pie covered with thick country cream, and all of us filled with good food and contentment. Helena's is one of the few places in this world where I am at home enough to take a nap after lunch. So Tom and I, along with the others, found our own soft spot where the afternoon breeze could gentle us into a peaceful nap as we woke one by one and wandered out into the yard and garden and finally into the berry patch. The raspberries were Helena's special gift to us. The gift began with a simple enjoyment of picking them, and the gift will last till we have eaten the final berry. It turned out Helena and I are profuse leakers in the hot sun, and as we picked, sweat rolled down our faces and into our eyes and down our backs. It was a treat afterwards to lay down on our backs in the cool, damp green grass, looking up at the sky through the boughs of the old cedar tree. I was able to freeze 10 quarts of raspberries to be used at our bed and breakfast. Our inn enterprise has tripled since we opened 3 summers ago. I still enjoy it. I like to cook breakfast, and I don't even mind the cleanup or making guests' beds. Most of the people have been a pleasure to serve. This summer we had the kids with us again. They came the first time as honeymooners. And they were from California. Each season we have a young couple stay with us long enough that they seem like family. This morning when they left, I cried. We had guests from Mexico, Germany, and England sharing with us bits of their lives and culture. The English couple wrote in our guest book, "Every place after this will be second rate." They would settle down with Tom in the afternoon for a cup of old Heartland tea cozied in the teapot and a bit of dessert. Michelle and Linda drew us into their vacation, giving us a break from our work, boating down the Snake River and flying the skies with them over our area, sneaking off to McCall for a Mexican dinner with them when we were really off to somewhere else. Turned out to be a spontaneous evening of fun in the middle of our busy summer, one to remember. I've had a good summer between meeting new friends and guests in our bed and breakfast, working at Shaver's grocery store, helping Tom make boxes, having our granddaughter Sheila stay with us in July, sharing special days with friends, family, and neighbors. Summer is about to end, but the fullness of it will stay warm to our hearts. And it has. A couple of other things about this place. Helena was born there, and she died there. It was way out, and she would come into town about once, I don't know how often, when the gas ran out, because it's the only place I've been where they had workable, usable, needed to have gas lights. And so you could see the lamps jet out from the rooms. The only thing I regret, I was never there at night to see them working. That would have been really nice. And she told us a story. When you came up all those little switchbacks, and there were places where we were coming in a truck, Tom would have to back up and do it again. And you could look down, 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 and I could look down and see cattle look just like those little plastic toy cattle cows down. And she told us one year her folks had saved money to buy a new cook stove, and they were bringing it up on the mules, and it was tied to the back of the mule, and the mule came across one place, slipped off of the road. Now that's hard for a mule to do, but of course it had a heavy pack on it, and it fell down, and of course that was the end of the animal and the stove. And Must have been a sad day, real sad, to lose the animal, to lose the stove, and to have to start saving again for animal and stove. Anyway, she had lived there all of her life. She had been married, they lived there as a married couple, and he had passed away years before. And oh, that's a dear spot in my heart. So write down things. You're gonna forget unless you really have them down. And life is an adventure that you don't want to miss. So that's my Surviving the 80s story, and have a good day.